Greetings, Boogie fans! Michael here, and oh my Arceus! Earlier this week, we got the biggest info dump on the upcoming Pokemon games that we've gotten since they were first announced. Those new games, of course, being Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus. I am most excited about the info in Legends Arceus because that info makes regional variants for the starters in that game far more likely. At least it does to me. In this video, I'll be going over all the new info, both from the presentation and the website, including some info that you might have missed, and I'll also be providing some of my own thoughts and predictions. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, please, and let's dive in. First, we'll cover the info on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl since they played that first in the video. The first trailer shows off more scenery from around the revamped Sinnoh region, and it predictably looks like the same route layout as the original, but in a 3D style. But there was one little moment from this montage that I found incredibly exciting, more exciting than any other piece of it. The protagonist, while riding his bike, is wearing a helmet. What? I love safety, and you should too. Wear your helmet and your seatbelt, kids and adults. As the trailer continues, we see that Overworld following Pokemon will be in the game, which is awesome. I love Overworld following Pokemon, but the last version of it we got, which was in the Sword and Shield DLC, and only the DLC, it was done very badly. The Pokemon are really slow and you get far away, and then they sprint to catch up. And then you get far away and they sprint to catch up. Just that over and over again. It's very bad. But the Pokemon in BDSP appear to match your speed better, which I find very important, and therefore the feature is something I'm more excited for. We then get to see some battle sequences, including the new look of the Orberg Gym and Rourke. I personally think the battlefield for the Rourke battle looks really good, and I'm excited to see how the battlefields for all the gyms look. Next, we see that ball capsules are back with 3D customization, which is really awesome. I never really used them as a kid, but I know a lot of people who love them, so I'm definitely gonna try them out. The Union Room is also back, but this is basically just a different way of communicating with other players for trades and online battles. Apparently, online battles were not a thing in the original Sinnoh games, which I guess kind of makes sense. The Wi-Fi connection was very, very new, but also, like, who cares that they're in this new one? Like, obviously they were gonna be in this new one. But then they reveal that character customization has been added, which has never been in the Sinnoh games before, and I think that's fantastic. I wasn't expecting it since Oris stupidly didn't have it, so this was a pleasant surprise. So many of the outfits look really fantastic. Contests are shown off and have gotten a massive visual upgrade. I never really did contests in Gen 4, I mainly only did them in Gen 3, but I'd be willing to give these new ones a shot. Haha, it is I, Grunty Boy. How can I help you? You got a degree in mechanical engineering, right? Yeah, that's right. Excellent, so you can build me a personal mech. No, they didn't teach us that. They didn't? Oh, well, what kind of lowbrow engineering program did you go through? This is so frustrating. I really want my own mech, but we consistently spend all of our giant robot budget on Jesse and James. Oh yeah, they do end up with a lot of those. But anyways, how about instead of a real mech that you would probably crash, you instead play Mech Arena, the sponsor of today's video. It's a 5v5 shooter where you pilot mechs in fun combat matches against other players. The game is really fun and action-packed, plus it's a genuinely great-looking game. I love the graphics. Ooh, okay, that sounds fun. But are there opportunities for customization? I do value my creativity. Oh, absolutely. There are a bunch of different mechs you can use, and all of them can have different weapons equipped onto them to suit your personal fighting style. Additionally, you can unlock skins for your mechs or customize them with a specific paint job. Customizing mechs is my personal favorite part of the game. Is that because you can't build them in real life? Because you instead decided to play Pokemon for a living? How does it feel to have wasted your degree? I do not need this aggression. Do you want to play the game or not? Sorry, yes, I do. It looks very fun. Well, it is fun. It's completely free to play on Android and iOS, and you can download it using the link in the description below or by scanning the QR code on screen. Using my link specifically will get you the black carbon skin, 300 A coins, and 50,000 credits to help kickstart your game. And if you want, you can add me as a friend. My username is MandJTV. All right, I'll get started right away, and you get to work building my mech. Ta-ta! I don't remember any of my classes and... Anyways, thanks so much to Mech Arena for sponsoring this video, but now let's get back to it. And then they show more about the Underground, now called the Grand Underground, showing off returning features like digging for treasures and secret base building, but then they show off Pokemon populated new areas with different biome aesthetics. In the explanation segment after the trailer, these are revealed to be called Pokemon Hideaways, and the Pokemon found in them will change depending on the statues placed in your secret base. They also mention certain Pokemon can only be found in these hideaways. I love this. I liked the Underground as a kid, but I know I'm gonna really like it when, in addition to all the other fun stuff you can do, you can also find beautiful biome varying caves to find and catch Pokemon in. Like, that is so awesome. But you know what my absolute favorite thing about the Pokemon Hideaways is? Munchlax. I've talked about it in more detail in my other videos, specifically what's the rarest Pokemon in every game, but long story short, Munchlax is one of the rarest, if not the rarest, non-shiny Pokemon in all of Pokemon. That's because it can only be found on honey trees, which take 6 hours for one encounter. It only has a 1% chance to show up, but it only has that 1% chance on 4 of the 21 trees throughout the entire region, and which 4 trees those are changes for every save file. And that's the only way to get a Munchlax in the original Sinnoh games without transferring one in. I think it is way too difficult and unfair to get a Munchlax, so I've been hoping that BDSP will make Munchlax easier to find. And it seems like they've granted my wish. In the trailer, we see the player encounter one in one of the hideaways, which is something that I am very pleased about. It looks like we'll be able to get Munchlax and Snorlax without suffering through honey trees. Well, they could still make it stupidly difficult by like making you have to have the Snorlax statue, and maybe the Snorlax statue is really hard to get. But I still have some optimism that it'll be at least somewhat easier. Finally, we get some footage of Team Galactic, including Cyrus's 3D look, and might I say, he looks very sickly and scary. Also, while not explicitly stated, this trailer made it abundantly obvious that these games will use the Platinum Sinnoh Dex rather than the Diamond and Pearl Sinnoh Dex. The amount of Platinum-only Pokemon shown in the trailer and explanation segment is enormous, so many that I'm not going to list them all. This is unsurprising since we saw Porygon Z in the announcement trailer, but it's still really nice to see and a huge relief. The Diamond and Pearl Sinnoh Dex is awful. It's got Infernape and Rapidash and no other fire types and a lot of other issues. It's terrible. So thank goodness these games are using the Platinum Dex. Now let's cover some info on BDSP that wasn't in the presentation, but is on the website. In the section on the Underground, there is a large map displayed of the Grand Underground, and it seems to show the hideaways are actually very large, and may even impact the appearance of the tunnels you run through. There seems to be a lake and watery area, a forest and meadow area, a volcanic area, a marshland area, a wintry area, and a desert area. One interesting thing I did notice about this map though is that it shows several Pokemon that are not in the original Platinum Dex. Those Pokemon are Numel, Slugma, Skiploom, and Farfetch'd. To me, this either means that the Dex for BDSP will be expanded from the Platinum Dex, or it means that there will be some kind of method post-game to get more Pokemon in these hideaways once you have the National Dex. Speaking of the National Dex, they did confirm that BDSP and Legends Arceus will get home compatibility sometime in 2022. You almost certainly will not be able to bring all other Pokemon into BDSP, but you'll probably be able to bring quite a few. Another interesting piece of info on the website is the map of Overworld Sinnoh. It's a nice looking map, I like the bright colors, but a few things stand out to me. The first is that Pal Park is very clearly still on the map. I'm interested to see if it will be necessary when transferring Pokemon in from Pokemon Home, or if it will serve some other purpose. The next thing of note is near the battle area in the post-game segment of the map. There appears to only be a battle tower, no other battle facilities. It seems that my hopes for a battle frontier are dashed. And the final bit about BDSP, the website revealed that you can get a Manaphy egg from Mystery Gift from the launch of the game until February 21st, 2022. And that Manaphy can then be bred to get Fion. No word on the other Sinnoh mythicals yet, but at least we know we're getting Manaphy. So that covers all the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl news, but now let's move on to the really spicy stuff. the Legends Arceus news. Legends Arceus. I can't do this all the time, guys. I will just say this right now. This could very easily end up becoming my favorite Pokemon game ever made. It looks insane. The newest trailer starts off with some scenic shots, but not really anything explicitly new. But then it cuts to the shot of a bearded Stantler. I saw someone on Reddit call it Dumbledore, which I love. And at this point is when I wish I had recorded my reaction because I squealed very loudly. I've thought for years that it would be really cool if they did Sinnoh forms of Pokemon in the Sinnoh remakes and do it for Pokemon that did not appear in the original Sinnoh games. And they're actually doing it. They're not doing it in BDSP, they're doing it in Legends Arceus, but that's arguably better. This trailer revealed 4 regional variants and evolutions, but confirmed the existence of 5. We'll get to that. First up, Dumbledore is actually called Weirdeer and is a regional evolution of Stantler. I love that they're giving some attention to Stantler because it is a Pokemon that has been completely ignored since it was introduced. Weirdeer is a psychic normal type, which I think makes perfect sense since due to Stantler's hypnotic horns, I've always thought it was weird that Stantler wasn't psychic type. Weirdeer is 5'11", weighs about 210 pounds, and is known as the Big Horn Pokemon. It seems to be revered by the people of the Hisui region. Oh, yeah, apparently the region is Hisui, not Sinnoh. Its name gets changed to Sinnoh later, but for now it's Hisui. I guess they're doing that because they didn't want to call these forms Sinnohan forms because they would not look different if you brought them into BDSP. And garments made from Weirdeer's fur are very warm. The orbs on its antlers can be used to unleash powerful psychic energy, and it leads herds of Stantler by using its antlers like antenna. After that shot of Weirdeer, the trailer moves on to show us views of the only city in the Hisui region, Jubilife Village, which, as you might imagine, eventually becomes Jubilife City. Not much is explained about it in the initial trailer, but the explanation segment after the trailer explains more. The large building, which notably has a spot designed after a Galarian Weezing. I think this is just like an aesthetic thing to show that, oh, they came from elsewhere. I don't think it's gonna be like a wild Pokemon you can catch. Is the hub for the Galaxy Expedition Team, with a name and logo obviously inspired by Team Galactic. The story has you join the expedition team and set out to fill out the very first ever Pokedex. So the main story progression is the missions they give you rather than beating gyms. The explanation segment introduces Professor Laventon, who studies Pokemon ecology, and he is the one to bring you your starter. Captain Celine, who is very clearly a reference to or ancestor of Cyrus, is the leader of the Survey Corps, a section of the expedition team. She seems to be strict yet supportive. Finally is Commander Kamado, the leader of the entire expedition team, and he is confirmed on the website to be an ancestor of Professor Rowan. The website also gives official names for the protagonists, Akari and Ray, and whichever one you don't pick is a character in the game. The trailer continues showing more adventure shots, once again demonstrating the stealth throw catching without having to start a battle. Then suddenly, the trailer shows off yet another regional form, Hisuian Growlithe. It's the scout Pokemon, a fire rock type, 2'7" and weighs 50 pounds. Its extra fur is intended to keep warmth in, and the small horn on its head is rocky but breaks easily. They patrol their area with a partner and do not trust humans. Hisuian's Growlithe appearance and rock typing seems to be inspired by Komainu, apologies if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, which are statue pairs of lion-dog-like creatures guarding the entrance to Japanese shrines. The original form of Growlithe seems to be inspired by them as well, but this new form leans more into it. Side note, the protagonist uses a Vulpix in battle against the Hisuian Growlithe, a Pokemon not found in the original Platinum Dex. This shot of Vulpix, plus other appearances by other Pokemon not in the original Platinum Dex, like Spheal and Ursaring, shows that the Pokemon you can find in the Hisui region will not be limited to just the Platinum Dex, plus Pokemon that get some kind of regional variant. There's gonna be other Pokemon that are normally not in Sinnoh there as well, that are just gonna be normal. But back to Growlithe, remember how I said that there were 4 variants and evolutions revealed, but 5 confirmed? Well, the existence of Hisuian Growlithe means that we are guaranteed either a Hisuian Arcanine or some alternate species evolution. That's because there are no not fully evolved regional variants that do not evolve either into another regional variant or a totally different species. This Growlithe has to become either Hisuian Arcanine or a totally different Pokemon. I commissioned RGreywind to make this Hisuian Arcanine design for me, since I do think Hisuian Arcanine is more likely than a different species, simply due to how popular Arcanine is. Its design is even more heavily inspired by Komainu, featuring elements of dogs, lions, and dragons. The trailer continues and shows a shot of a base camp, smaller camps scattered around the region that function as healing locations, shops, and crafting locations. Oh yeah, you can craft Pokeballs in this game instead of only buying them or finding them. I think that's pretty cool. It then shows 2 shots of the player running near ruins, which to me implies that the truly ancient people of Hisui, or Sinnoh, or whatever, were here long before these people were. Suddenly, the protagonist yeets herself off a cliff, only to be lifted up by a new Braviary. There's riding Pokemon in the sky! This is awesome! I loved the soaring part of Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, and I am so hyped we get to do that, but on a smaller scale, getting to see the routes more closely. We'll be able to fly around wherever we want, and I think that is so dope. As is this new Braviary. Hisuian Braviary is a psychic flying type, the battle cry Pokemon, 5'7" and weighs a bit over 95 pounds, making it bigger than the previous Braviary. They evolve from regular Rufflet, and they apparently spend warmer months somewhere even further north than Hisui, arriving in Hisui during the winter. Its psychic power lets it release shockwaves with its screeches, and it can even use that power to enter a trance that lets it fight better. Overall, a really cool Pokemon that I am definitely considering using on my team. After a couple beautiful shots of Braviary flying you around, it cuts to the player riding yet another new Pokemon, Basculegian, which is one of the coolest Pokemon names out there. It is a water ghost type, the big fish Pokemon, almost 10 feet long, and weighs just under 250 pounds. Basculin in the Hisui region evolve into it when, and I quote, "A Basculin is possessed by the souls of other Basculin from its school that could not withstand the harsh journey upstream." It's called Basculegian because its body is home to the souls of a bunch of its dead friends. That is so metal. Basculegian fights alongside those souls and gains power from them, allowing it to swim for a really long time. If it senses animosity, it attacks until it defeats the enemy. This Basculegian has clearly evolved from a red stripe Basculin. As of now, we do not know if Basculegian has a form for if it evolves from blue stripe Basculin, but it is possible that Hisui will only have red stripe Basculin. I love Basculegian. Basculin definitely needed an evolution. It's a pretty useless Pokemon without one, and this is a super cool way to do it. There's a really good chance I use this on my squad. So this means that I've covered all the new regional variants and evolutions announced for Legends Arceus, those being Weirdeer, Hisuian Growlithe, the very likely Hisuian Arcanine, Hisuian Braviary, and Basculegian. I am so excited about these, not just because I think they're really awesome and I love regional variants and we're probably gonna get more, but also because their existence makes it far more likely that the starters get variants. All of the Pokemon given a new variant or evolution so far are Pokemon not found in the Gen 4 Sinnoh region without some kind of hoops to jump through. Growlithe and Stantler were post-game only Pokemon that required the Pokeradar or a GBA game inserted into the DS in order for them to appear. And Braviary and Basculin are Gen 5 Pokemon. Well, guess what Pokemon fit the same criteria? The starters in Legends Arceus. Cyndaquil is not found in the Gen 4 Sinnoh games at all through any method other than transferring it in, and then Oshawott and Rowlet are Gen 5 or later starters. The fact that there are new regional variants in Legends Arceus blows the door wide open for the Legends Arceus starters to get regional variants too. In fact, I'd say it blows the door so wide open that it's likely. Just think about all the special things that starters have gotten within the last few generations. The Kanto starters got Mega Evolutions in X and Y. The Hoenn starters got Mega Evolutions in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The Alola starters got exclusive Z moves in the Alola games, and both the Kanto and Galar starters got Gigantamax forms in Sword and Shield. I know I probably shouldn't get my hopes up too high, but I feel pretty confident about this. They haven't shown any evolutions of these starters in any of the Legends Arceus promo material so far. I think it is very much within the realm of possibility that Samarat, Typhlosion, and Decidueye get regional variants. I suppose they could also just do completely different species, but I feel like regional variants is more likely. Loxton has a great video about how the time period of Legends Arceus seems to be inspired by the Meiji period of Japan, taking place in the latter half of the 1800s. Therefore, I think it would make sense and be really cool if the Hisuian starters were inspired by various Japanese warriors from around that time period. And I commissioned RGreywind to bring my designs to life. First is Samarat, which is already inspired by Samurai. I think its design could be more heavily inspired by Samurai and gain the fighting type as a result. A type I think would have made sense for it originally if Emboar hadn't ruined it. A piece of this design I want to point out is that its beard is now being used to keep it warm in the very cold Hisuian climate. For Decidueye, it is already clearly an archer. Samurai were actually skilled users of the bow, but so were ninjas, another type of Japanese warrior. We do already have Greninja, but my idea for a ninja Decidueye still has it use a bow and arrow, something real ninjas also did. It would be a grass dark type, which does give Hisuian Samarat an advantage over it, but Empoleon and Infernape already set the precedent of the reverse type advantage thing in the same region, so it's fine. For Typhlosion, it is not clearly based on a Japanese warrior, it's just a badger. However, Loxton's video informed me that there is a yokai called Mujina, a badger that takes on the role of a shogun, a Japanese military leader. However, for an alternate form, a Typhlosion barking orders isn't all that cool. So instead, I thought it would be better if it was designed after the cannons that the Japanese military began using in the later 1800s. This would make it a fire steel type. Obviously, these are just my ideas, but my gosh, it would be so freaking cool. Could you imagine? Oh, I hope so. Anyways, back to the trailer analysis. After showing that you can also ride on Weirdeer, a scene displays of energy shooting down from the sky and enraging Pokemon. An Ursaring, Gyarados, and Luxray, and these Pokemon actually attack you. The Luxray shocks you. The player barely avoids being sliced in half by an Ursaring. These games are insane. It's awesome. The info segment after the trailer reveals that some Pokemon will attack you, and if you take too many hits, you black out and get sent back to base camp. They say that this game will blend action and RPG elements, and they were not kidding about the action. Like, you have to have reflexes in Pokemon now. You can enter a battle with these enraged Pokemon though, and doing so does allow you to catch them and add them to your team. Once the trailer ends, the segment afterward goes into more detail, explaining story and setup stuff that I've already mentioned, along with explaining that different Pokemon react to you in different ways, and how you might have to use tall grass to sneak up on certain Pokemon. Look at me. I am the encounter now. You can still do battles with wild Pokemon by throwing your own Pokemon's ball near them. However, combat has changed. Attack order isn't back and forth, meaning sometimes Pokemon will get to move twice in a row. You can also select strong or agile style when doing attacks. Strong increases power, but makes it so you'll move less, and agile style is weaker, but lets you move more. But a thought has occurred that agile style boosting moves could be very broken because you get to move more and faster, but you don't have to worry about the power decrease because boosting moves don't do damage. I don't know, maybe this doesn't matter because you would not be fighting any other people, just like NPCs, so it's like, who cares if it's broken? Maybe then it's too easy? I don't know, we'll have to see how this plays out. It'll definitely take some time to get used to this new battle style, but I think I'm gonna be all right. However, one thing I did wanna mention is that I think they might have removed abilities for this game. We don't see any of them being used, like at all. And for the new Pokemon, they don't have their ability listed on their website page. Whereas new Pokemon revealed for Sword and Shield did have their ability listed before release. So we may not have abilities, which I guess I don't feel super strongly about. I don't know. And I think that covers everything. Maybe I missed something, but I mentioned the important stuff. I'm really excited for these games to come out. Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is November 19th, and Legends Arceus is January 28th. I cannot wait, and I hope you can't wait either. Thank you so much for watching, and an extra special thanks to my patrons over on Patreon who are helping support my channel independent of fluctuating YouTube ad rates. If you want to help support me in the same way, the link is in the description below. Also, if you want to check out some more of my fun Pokemon content, I recommend these videos here. All right, that's all I have for now. So until next time, big fans, gotta catch them all.